Hello everyone, thanks for watching my video today. My name is David, and today's video is about the differences between borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder. I'm often asked these questions. I'm often asked questions about each of these disorders. What's the difference? And what's the difference between different disorders as well, personality disorders? So today I want to talk about some of the differences. I know for a lot of people who have been victimized by people with these two disorders who've had relationships with them, whether it's family or dating or friends, you guys have questions about this and want to know more about this disorder for you to help you better understand your relationship that you had. So I want to talk about some of these differences today. So both of these are personality disorders, and they both are in what's called a cluster B. So they're kind of grouped together. Out of the 10 personality disorders, there's 3 clusters, A, B, and C, and these fall in the cluster B, along with narcissistic personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder, which are your psychopath and sociopaths. So first thing is with personality disorders, these are very pervasive. It means that they're not just sometimes these things don't show up just every so often, or you have bad episodes in your life, times in your life. I know a lot of people that watch my videos are often concerned and worried if they have a personality disorder, and because they've had some of these symptoms in some times of their life, or maybe right now after some of the lowest times in their life. And it's not necessarily like that. It's very pervasive. It's in all areas of their life. It might show up at work and relationships, things like this, and it's throughout their life. These kinds of things begin in childhood, early adulthood. Some statistics in the United States: borderline personality disorder, people that are diagnosed with borderline, is about 1.4% of Americans. That's at least 4 million. And histrionic is about 2 to 3%. Now this is in America, and this is diagnosed, so it's not necessarily, it may not be an accurate description of how many people actually have it. These kinds of disorders greatly go undiagnosed, massively. A lot of people with these disorders do not go to try to get help, and a lot of these people do go to try and get help, and they're not diagnosed, and they're very often misdiagnosed. What's important to remember is that personality disorders have a lot of overlapping traits. And so once you cross that line into personality disorders, when you have one, it's very common to have traits of different personality disorders. And a lot of people get confused and believe that they're comorbid, and they could be, but they believe that they or someone they know will have 2, maybe even 3 personality disorders. And that really shows how much overlap there is. So speaking about both of these disorders and trying to show the contrast in them is very difficult. Very difficult. Not every borderline is the same. There may even be 4 different types of borderline. Matter of fact, many doctors and therapists, professionals in the psychology field believe that these 2 disorders may just be the same one. And histrionic personality disorder is often misdiagnosed as borderline. And both of these disorders are often misdiagnosed with different, like mood disorders, addiction disorders, depression disorders, things like this. So this isn't easy. And so one thing I want to be very clear is that a lot of people watch my videos that have personality disorders, and I get a lot of people that watch borderline, or that watch my videos that have borderline personality disorder. And that's the one disorder, when I speak of, that I get quite a few people down below in the comment section that tells me, I'm borderline and I don't do that. I'm borderline and I don't do any of those things. And I want to be very clear that I'm not speaking about anybody specifically. I'm not speaking about you. I'm talking about a disorder. And that's why there's certain criteria. And so often people with borderline personality disorder don't do a couple of the traits that are diagnostic. They may not exhibit these things at all. some of them. So I understand that. And so I don't need people to tell me that you personally don't do that. Okay? And a lot of this, I try to stay a little away from my own opinion. And I do a lot of research. I've studied personality disorders for 7, 8 years, something like that, maybe more. I've had my own personal experience with many people that have personality disorders, many people who have borderline personality disorder. I've experienced many people with histrionic personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorders, and even psychopaths and sociopaths. I've had much experience with people with these disorders. And in my coaching practice, I've had a lot of victims and even people with these personality disorders try to get help from me, and I can't help people with disorders like that. I am able to help majority of people that have been victimized by people like this or have post-traumatic stress disorder or variants of that. So getting back to these disorders. So I'm talking about the differences, so I'm not going to go down and specifically speak about each one. I've done that many, many times in many, many videos, and you're more than welcome, and I hope that you will take a chance to scroll through my videos and watch them. So I'm not, I have a playlist titled Borderline Personality Disorder, and I have many videos about that. I also have videos about histrionic personality disorder. So I encourage you to go watch that, and I'm not going to dive deep into each one of these. I'm talking about the differences. And so I'm not going to talk about the similarities too much, okay? Both of these can be characterized as wild behaviors, dramatic, erratic, impulsive, even compulsive, unstable, okay? And like I've said before, there could be a comorbidity in these. And many doctors believe that histrionic personality disorder doesn't exist, that it's simply a variant of borderline personality disorder. And I'm quite surprised when I studied these two a while ago that histrionic is diagnosed more. That might be people with histrionic personality disorder seek help more. I'm not sure. But I don't even know if that gives a clear example or a clear explanation of how many people actually have it. So, first I'll talk about affect and emotional instability between these people and kind of what their affect may look like and emotions may feel like. So people with histrionic are exaggerated. Their expressions, they do anything they can to be the center of attention. And sometimes they could be reckless, dangerous, everything from loud speech to loud clothing, provocative clothing, to waving their arms around. Everything is very exaggerated, and when you're watching somebody like this, they will tell you how amazing something is, or oh, watch out, it's scary, it's dangerous, oh my gosh. And something I've noticed is when a healthy person exhibits these emotions, it's not all the time, right? But we do sometimes in our lives have things that are that do raise our emotions, and we express this. And when a healthy person does this, I kind of feel it with them. I guess that would be kind of empathy I may be speaking about, maybe even sympathy, but it raises my emotions. The danger they feel and express may make me feel like there may be some danger around. Their excitement may excite me, things like this. Whereas somebody with histrionic personality disorder exhibits these exaggerated emotions and affect all the time. And so it's like you could sit there and watch someone freak out, get excited, get scared, and you just kind of like, you almost just don't believe it. You don't feel it. It doesn't really do anything to me. So that is a histrionic a little bit as we start getting into it. And the borderline would be affective, their affect would be unstable. And so they may go from 0 to 100, very down to very up and very down again, like a light switch. where the histrionic seems to be very, very up and excited. It's amazing, unless you hurt their feelings and they melt all the way down. And the histrionic really is about the center of attention again. And provocative in clothing, style, speech. These are the ones that may go and see their counselor or coach and maybe dressing inappropriately. Doing anything they can to get attention. They may be the one that goes to a funeral and be all happy and excited, or crying more than anybody else. They don't really know them. And they may be wearing provocative clothing at a funeral, bright red when everyone's wearing black. They might be the only female at a wedding besides the potential wife, the bride, that's wearing white. It's like it's their day. And the borderline tends to, now different variants, different people, different personalities, but typically the borderline compared to that might be a little more closed, shy, may dress down and cover. And their emotions come from a very, could be angry place, negative, tends to be more suicidal than histrionic, where the histrionic is usually typically exhibiting that everything is amazing. I'm happy. Wow. Impressionistic speech. That would be categorized as HPD. Lacking in detail. An example, oh my God, I just went to this place last night, and it's just amazing. Everything was amazing. It was perfect. You wouldn't believe it, blah, blah, blah. But they're not really telling you like, I met this person and they were saying this and like this, and we're going to hug, and then it was just decorated in these lavish, like really beautiful emerald greens and golds. And, no, it's just beautiful. And yes, well, I don't know, it just is. And they can't really specifically identify their thoughts, their feelings, and relate it in speech. So it's very generalizations. The sexual provocative in the style and appearance, the attention seeking, very flirtatious, where a borderline might be more reserved. And they tend to be extreme in sexuality, one way or the other. So a borderline might be very sexual in a relationship right away, and then have a tendency to cut you off, and maybe you guys don't have sex again for a year, 2 years, 5 years. Very typical of borderline. Or they may not be non-sexual at all. They might not want to have sex and had sex for a very, very, very long time, maybe very closed. But it's these extremes of up and down, and that kind of depicts their relationships. Very extreme idealization, devaluation, where the histrionic is very sexual and very disloyal, where not every borderline will cheat. Lots of borderlines I know. Mothers who never and would never cheat, where the histrionic almost always does somehow, some way, whether it's just talking and behind your back or sex, flirting, things like this. A histrionic self-esteem really depends on everyone else's approval. And so they try all the time, where the borderline is more afraid to try, if that makes sense. People with histrionic tend to be very easily influenced by others, very suggestible. Now, personality disorders, if I had to describe them, if I had one word to describe all of them, would be rigid, okay? Not flexible. They don't bend, they break, all right? So what I've noticed with some very specific people that have histrionic personality disorder, say a new subject comes up in their life that they aren't aware of or never thought about, and they're doing that for the first time, maybe with someone else talking about it, and someone will present their idea to them. That will be the first time they hear that idea about that topic at all. And so they will quickly, that very second, grasp that idea, try to, and take it within their own. And they won't maybe even process that, will not form their own opinion, seeking approval so much, trying to relate to the other person as they're talking about this. And a histrionic will be very, very eager and will talk fast and maybe ongoing and na. As you're talking, they cut you off and talk over you and try to finish your sentences all the time. Really trying to get your attention. And that second they hear that opinion, it's me too. And that's the borderline. I mean, histrionic. Sorry, histrionic. Me too, me too, me too, me too, me too, me too. They will take that opinion of someone else's, make it theirs for life. For life. Not even give a second to form their own opinion, to evaluate this, to compare it to other experiences in their life. No. You believe that? So do I. Me too. And it's for life, and you'll never change your opinion. Whereas a borderline is more paranoid. More paranoid. Fears, lots of fears, and they may not ever believe you. Not every borderline. I'm trying to differentiate these two, which is difficult, and that's something I've noticed that's different. So the histrionic is more likely to believe anything, where the borderline not believe. And so, like I said before, rigid, don't change, and that's another kind of a reason that a lot of times people aren't able to heal these type of disorders. Borderline recently is now being classified as something that you can heal from. It tends to gradually lessen as people with borderline get older. So borderlines have this emotional instability where they'll feel so drastic emotions, down and up, right? And they really have identity disturbance a lot. It's a big problem. So they don't really sometimes even know how they feel. And they have definite problems expressing this in their affect. And it switches all the time so fast. Where the histrionic seems to be so far up and up and up and up until you reject them, don't approve, criticize, things like this, and it's down. I'm nobody. I'm nothing. Lots of other things to talk about this subject, about these two disorders. So please ask me lots of questions that you have, and I'll try to answer all of them. I'd love to hear your own examples of each of these and the similarities and the differences. And like I said before, I have a lot of videos about each of these. If you're interested in to hear what I have to say about these, please watch them. And thank you very much. Love yourself first, guys. I'll see you guys later. Bye.